So today's show is what happens when politics, ego, and absolute absurdity collide at full speed. We'll start with a Kamala Harris announcement that you absolutely can't imagine what she thinks she deserves. And then things spiral quickly from there. One member of Congress declares America is basically a villain in a comic book, but not the villain you would expect. And, well, the DC pipe bomb story suddenly involves My Little Pony. No, this is absolutely real. But the real explosion comes when Candace Owens points the finger in every direction, but at one person in particular, and he doesn't react really well to it. And just when you think we reached peak chaos, the serious news hits. The DHS launches the toughest immigration crackdown we've seen in years, launches a brand new website that most don't even know exist, 800 and some odd pages of the worst, but they're not doing their job, right? And then Trump makes an announcement of 5 years of social media history he's going to take a look at. Most people didn't even hear about it. Have you? Because I'll tell you exactly who should be really nervous right now in just a few seconds. First, some good news. President Trump sharing some great news on Andrew Wolf, the National Guardsman shot. Listen in here for a moment.
Today I got a call that he got up from bed. Do you believe that? He got up. He got up.
Saying he's happy. It's amazing. And many would call that a miracle. That's the heartening part of the story, and now the lunatic part of the story. Because Kamala Harris has something she'd like to announce, and we'll begin with her, who's now declared, and this is real, there will be a marble bust of me in Congress. I am an historic figure, quote, unquote, like any vice president of the United States ever was. Now look, confidence is great, right? Confidence is healthy. Confidence is necessary in politics. But historic for what exactly? The border crisis? The word salification of American politics? The cackling, the 3-minute answers to one-sentence question? Imagine a plaque underneath that bust that states, "Here stands Vice President Harris, who boldly redefined punctuation, grammar, and sentence structure across the English-speaking world. If nothing else, she will be remembered, maybe not how she planned, but nonetheless remembered." So I'll give her that. But then comes more lunacy out of Representative Hank Johnson.
And this sends a shocking message to the world that America is indeed what did they used to call the great hand of Satan or something like that? I mean, America under the Trump regime is demonstrating that moniker was entirely accurate. The great Satan. That's what we have become in this country.
America is the great Satan. His words, not mine. Man known for many memorable moments, now declared that America is the great hand of Satan. No follow-up explanation, no footnote, just boom. What do you think about that? And then we have Adam Schiff. Upset, deeply upset, of course, because of what's happening to him. But also upset that former attorney Merrick Garland didn't prosecute Donald Trump fast enough. Here was his words.
And he wished to restore the department's reputation for independence. Now, what they did in the first Trump Justice Department is peanuts compared to today. But nevertheless, Merrick Garland wanted to restore the reputation of the department for strict nonpartisanship. And that made him very reluctant to pursue an investigation of the president. Too reluctant.
Let me repeat that for you for a moment. He wanted to restore the reputation of the department for strict nonpartisanship. And that made him very reluctant. Too reluctant. He just said that out loud. He was too objective. Translation, he didn't sprint fast enough to the finish line I wanted. What we are truly witnessing, Olympic-level mental gymnastics right now, aren't we? But we're not done. We're not even to the main story. Because it's now announced by the New York Post that the D.C. pipe bomb suspect Brian Cole Jr. had secret online life obsessing over My Little Pony. This is what I woke up to this morning, so I wanted to share what was happening in the world of abnormalcy. And then Candace Owens struck. Candace Owens always has a lot to say. And as all of you know who follow me, I don't talk about Candace Owens, and there's a reason I don't. But today, one of the main events we'll be discussing is the ongoing political influencer, which I even have trouble stating. She's made increasingly extreme, unverifiable claims, and we can go through the litany of them. You were lied to. I received information last night about Turning Point, and I'll declare it. Going on to the French Doom Squad and the Macron plot. So I'll just give you a quick recap. The official suspect, Tyler Robinson, was framed. Not the true killer. Alleges a federal cover-up and possible U.S. military involvement. Suggests internal betrayal. Leadership of TPUSA knew or approved of it. Claims a motive tied to a global political pressure. Can't remember if it was Egypt or Israel or France. We have multiple angles she took. Charlie Kirk predicted his own death. And then, well, she went full carte blanche after the wrong person. Who stood to benefit from Charlie Kirk's assassination? And look who's pictured there. Kash Patel and Tim Poole. I can't play what he said because it would violate about 1 million rules. To say he was upset would be an understatement, so I'll paraphrase it like this. Candace Owens is unbelievably wrong and shockingly malicious. This is beyond acceptable behavior. That's about as friendly as I can put it. Because Tim Poole's done. He's had his home shot at. He needs security. And he is stating very clearly that Candace Owens is making matters worse. And who is benefiting from all of this with those claims. Political lunacy. Man, it is front and center right now, isn't it? Before we get to what Trump announced, and before we get to what is actual progress, arrested worst of the worst, the story we're going to continue with right after this short break. And I really want to get on with the story, so we're going to make this fast. Do me a favor. Help me to continue to beat the algorithm. How do you do it? Make sure your bell is checked all. Subscribe if you're new here. Those of you who have joined as members here, thank you so very much. Those of you who provided comments and shares, everybody has different means. All of it matters. If you want to continue to hear my news, make sure that this channel continues to grow. Continue to do what you're doing. Comments, shares, making sure your bell is checked to all, joining as a member, or following us at Restricted Republic, where I continue this podcast almost 4 days a week. That's what matters. And thank you for all of you who do that. Also, before I bump in today's broadcast, let's talk about something every Medicare viewer needs to know, because 2026 is shaping up to be another one of those Washington special years. And the sponsor of this video chapter, who I've talked about, and amazing the amount of comments I get on this company. Medicare Part B premiums are rising 10% for 2026. That's $215 a year straight out of Social Security checks, the second largest increase ever in dollar terms. And while premiums climb, benefits are shrinking and some plans are disappearing entirely. Come January, a lot of folks aren't going to find out their new plan doesn't include the doctors they've relied on for years. Now here's the curveball. If you chose your 2026 plan using Medicare.gov provider directory, the government admits there were errors. Meaning, Some people may have signed up for a plan that doesn't actually cover their doctors. The silver lining, thankfully you're here. Because of those inaccuracies, the government's offering and affected seniors a chance to switch plans, because figuring out whether you qualify isn't simple. That's why today's sponsor, Chapter, exists and why I'm bringing it to you. I'm not a licensed insurance agent, and this is not Medicare advice. Chapter is a licensed Medicare professional. I'm simply giving you the information you need to stay protected. Chapter offers a free, unbiased consultation by calling that number, a free phone call, 805-619-5011. They can review your situation in about 20 minutes. Confirm your doctors and help you understand your options. If you're already on the right plan, they'll tell you. If not, they'll point you in the right direction. No pressure, no obligation. The sooner you call, the sooner you can make sure your 2026 coverage actually works for you. Simply just call 805-619-5011. Once again, 805-619-5011. Free phone call, folks. And based on what I just told you, I hope you'll give them a call today, because the recommendations, the testimonials I receive on this channel, man, they are second to none. Chapter, thank you again for sponsoring this video. But now let's get back to it. So let's move back into actual policy. Department of Homeland Security just launched a new, very public showcase titled Arrested Worst of the Worst. You see it there? They're highlighting the most dangerous criminal offenders captured by ICE, and yes, this is exactly what President Trump promised. As Undersecretary No, DHS is putting the spotlight on major arrests and ramping up removal operations, prioritizing violent criminals, and they just proved it on this website. Whatever someone's politics are, showcasing the removal of dangerous offenders is something a lot of Americans have been demanding for years. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. And this announcement comes at the exact same time President Trump signals new restrictions on, I'm going to get there in just a few minutes. And if you look at this site, pretty easy to follow. It goes through the worst of the worst, what they were arrested for, where they were arrested, and their names. And you think this is a simple website of a few pages? No. How about 820 pages of the worst of the worst? And tell me that Trump and his administration aren't doing the work of what was needed in this country. What amazing results. And now they have the receipts to prove it, something this country isn't used to. And then Pete Hegseth drops a new bombshell. Not the literal kind. A full strategic platform outlining the next generation of American warfare. Goes with the defense plan I just outlined for you the other day. Think AI-driven command systems, drone swarms, real-time battlefield data, counter-EW, and satellite resistance. Not easy for me to say. Forces structured for global pressure points. This is modern warfare for a modern world. And it comes at a perfect time, because we got some things happening. U.S. fighter jets enter Venezuelan airspace for 40 minutes. Trump's applying his pressure campaign now and threatens to overthrow Maduro. This isn't a drill. This is real air-to-air pressure. And this is only one of the battlefields that President Trump is preparing for, because he has a situation still looming between Russia and Ukraine. Zelensky definitively rejected Trump's peace plan, saying Ukraine will not cede territory, period. That set up a diplomatic collision. Trump wants negotiations. Zelensky wants total restoration. Russia wants guarantees. Then Trump openly states that NATO leaders need to call him daddy. So what happens? Zelensky suddenly states, now I'm ready for elections, after Trump indicates that he, not Trump, Zelensky, is the obstacle to peace. I guess maybe the Three Stooges are getting exactly what they want now, are they? The advice doesn't quite seem to be panning out. By calling for elections in Ukraine, Trump makes it clear that he deems Zelensky the main obstacle to peace. This opinion is shared by part of the Ukrainian establishment. Elections are indeed constitutionally impossible, although I am sure the Russians will announce temporary ceasefire during that weekend if they happen. so as to see Zelensky go. What is far more likely is a Rada coup in which Zelensky will lose parliamentary majority and become even more isolated domestically. His inability to find a replacement reflects the level of his isolation. It appears that Trump may be pushing some internal politics in Ukraine that Zelensky knows he can no longer avoid because him, within his own screenshot here, states, "I'm now ready for elections." And it appears things have changed. Whether you love him or hate him, Trump's recentered global alliances around himself in a way no U.S. president ever has. Allies, adversaries, and entire institutions are all reacting at the same time. President Trump is readying the military. Hegseth is supporting him. And for once, the whole of the U.S. government is moving in the same direction, no matter how many people try to stand in his way. Just a few major updates today. Which leads to this. Trump to force all foreign tourists to provide 5 years of social media history before entering the U.S. Oh, you thought it was about you. Oh no, some other people have valid reason to now be concerned. The drastic move was the latest attempt by President Trump to scrutinize those entering the country after an immigration freeze from 19 countries was announced last week. The mandatory notice was published by Customs and Border Protection on Tuesday in the Federal Register. What do you think about that? Social media day will be required for any people entering the United States, including countries like the United Kingdom and Germany, who don't mandate visas for travel. It follows a June announcement by the State Department that orders travelers to make their social media profiles public. The notice said the American public will have 60 days with which to provide comment. Oh, I can't wait to see the comments on this one, and I can't wait to hear your comments. What do you think Trump's doing here? Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Because trust me, the media spin on this will be intense. The Democrat spin on this will be intense. And all President Trump is trying to do is toughen up U.S. citizenship and immigration services, all part of the key agenda that we gave him as part of the mandate for change that we demanded. American benefits should not be given to those who despise the country and promote anti-American ideologies. Pretty plain and simple, in the words of the Trump administration. Immigration benefits, including to live and work in the United States, remain a privilege, not a right. If you hate America, don't try to live in America. It's that simple. And he's going to vet that out by going back and looking into social media. So again, be prepared, because what's about to happen is a media spin campaign like nothing you've never seen before, and brings me to my closing arguments. Doug Casey wrote, "Question everything," which is exactly what we do here. It is the very foundation of this channel. And this was now courtesy and a reminder of the international man. He coined it in so well. Question everything. Not because everything's wrong, but because the people in charge are proving every single day that they're human, fallible, emotional, reactive, loud, and occasionally wildly unpredictable. Look at the Candace Owens story and you'll start to understand that. If ever there was a time to stay sharp, stay informed, and stay skeptical, it's right now. Think about your average news show right now. The host reads, then cues a panel, 3 people who mostly agree, 1 who doesn't agree, in a tidy little argument that ends with no information. Only louder certainty. That's not debate. That's theater. And the applause track is your dopamine hit from feeling right. Quantity doesn't equal quality. 24-hour coverage means the same talking points get replayed until they're tattooed on your skull. The network calls it balanced, because they put a liberal and conservative on the screen. But staring long enough at 2 mirrors only produce the same reflection from opposite angles. Result, you don't become smarter. You become indoctrinated. You switch to your channel for validation. They repeat your views. You feel vindicated, and the cycle eats your curiosity and repeats And if someone like Nigel Farage or Ron Paul dares to question a third possibility, the audience loses it, because independent thought is the last thing the system wants. So stay with me. I'll give you two real options to break the loop. One sounds easy, one breaks the habit. Both make you dangerous to the narrative machine, and one is what you're doing right now. First, the illusion of choice, whether A or B wins. Both require a more powerful government. One side's tax to control capitalist greed. The other side builds power to defend traditional values. Different slogan, same outcome. More authority in fewer hands. Flip between channels and you'll see that they're twins wearing different hats. Second, how this evolved. Ancient kings used edicts. Modern dictators use propaganda. Today's method is slicker. Present two packaged views. Repeat them and call it freedom. It's subtle. It's effective. It's far more dangerous because it looks like choice. So here are two ways to fight back. Short and brutal. Option A, disengage. Stop watching the news. Hard to do socially, but effective. Or option B, which we do here, which I believe is the only choice, question everything. Treat every headline like a negotiation. Ask who benefits, who's left out, and what alternative explanation exists. Do this enough, and the scripted certainty around you starts to wobble. Practice this. You hear a pundit ask, who pays them? What are they not saying? Is there an option outside A and B? And don't be afraid to be wrong. Independent thinking is messy. It's human. It's how actual insight is born. Are we always right here? Nope. Are we afraid to question everything? Absolutely not. And I guess it's why the channel's growing, because we don't accept official narratives. It's a rare act, but it's simple. Think for yourself. That's not contrarian for sport, that's survival. So question everything. Even this video. Even me. If you want more, keep tuning in, because that's always what you receive here. And why I challenge everything, and why my viewers, your brains are sharper than anyone's, and why this channel continues to grow. Don't be programmed, be dangerous. Through education, through knowledge, because knowledge, as they've always stated, is power, and I hope that is what I am providing you here. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.